Hey guys, it's Miss Leventhal. I'm going to show you how to do some watercolor techniques. I'm going to show you 10 today, so make sure you're paying attention, and all the watercolor materials are on the white counter when you're ready for them. So the first thing I'm going to show you real quick is your watercolor tray. You don't want to use the watercolor straight from the tray because what happens is it dries goopy and kind of sticky and shiny. So watercolor artists actually use this little tray. They add some dots of water, drops of water, and they grab the color from the tray and keep the tray nice and clean, and they mix right in this little mixing tray that's specifically for this. Okay, the first technique I'm going to show you is the salt technique. So I'm going to write this down, salt, and I'm going to use just some blue. I'm going to make a little orb here, a little circle. And while this is wet, it's very important while it's wet, you're going to take a little bit of salt. These yogurt containers have some salt in them. Just take a pinch, sprinkle it on while it's wet. You're going to let this dry overnight, and it'll look like and feel like sandpaper. So then you scrub it away, and then it leaves little white pock marks where the color was, where the salt was. It looks like sand and it has good texture. All right, what's number 2?
Etching.
All right, etching. I got my sidekick Rome who's helping me out today. All right, etching is where you take this little needle tool, and I have these wrapped and numbered so you know which one you took and you can bring it back to me. And etching, you can just draw right into the paper. You don't want to tear the paper, but it actually lets the color sink into the paper. So now I can paint right on top of that, and the color should start to sink in a little bit where you etched. You kind of see that texture shows up. All right, that is 2. What's number 3? Wax resist. So wax resist is where you take a white crayon, you press pretty hard, you can make your designs, and then you paint right on top of that, and it should resist the color and the water, the paint. Okay, acts as a barrier. All right, what's number 4?
Pencil and pen.
Pencil and pen. This adds a little bit of texture, so I'm actually going to draw the design first. This is some scumbling I'm doing, which you'll learn in a little bit. You can also use pen. If you use pen, you need to use permanent marker because it's waterproof. So this adds a little bit of texture, a little bit of some fun detail. Okay. All right, that's pencil and pen. Number 5.
Splatter.
Splatter. This one's pretty fun. This is a controlled splatter. So I'm gonna make a little orb here, and I'm gonna go back. Let's do a little bit of blue. I'm gonna load my brush. I'm gonna tap my finger onto the brush and see how it's more controlled. It'll still splatter a little bit, but instead of whipping it back behind you, this is a little bit more controlled. Okay, so that's splatter. You can do different colors with that as well. 6.
Blow paint.
All right, blow paint. Blow paint uses a straw, and again, you do not reuse the straw. This goes in the garbage on your way out the door. So blow paint, I'm going to take my little orb here. Let's add some drops at the very bottom. And I'm just going to take this straw, and I'm going to blow and move the straw as I blow the paint, and it'll give it that direction it's going to blow in. Just like that. Okay? That's blow paint. 7.
Wet on wet.
Okay, wet on wet is putting one color down It's almost like blending. While it's wet, you're going to put another color down and let those kind of blend together. Okay, 8.
Scumbling.
Scumbling. Scumbling is where you twist your brush or your pencil, just like that, but you actually do it with your paintbrush. So if I take this little circle and then I scumble inside, it creates kind of a cool texture. If you let that dry and do another color on top, you get something even more creative.
Overlapping.
Okay, 9 is overlapping. We're going to do part of overlapping now, and then we're going to go to 10 and then come back to this one. So overlapping, we're going to take, oh, we need a little bit more paint. We're going to just make some designs. And then we're going to come back to this. We're going to let this dry a little bit. And then we'll come back. So number 10.
Blending.
10 is blending. This is very similar to wet on wet. We're going to fill half the orb with paint and then the other half with a different color, and they're going to blend in the middle. So they'll kind of naturally blend. It's very similar to overlapping. I'm sorry, very similar to wet on wet. Okay, we're going to come back to the overlapping one. If you ever need to dry anything up quickly, you can use a paper towel. And I'm going to take now, ideally I would like to let this dry a little bit longer, but for our sake, I'm just going to go over this. And the idea is for these not to mix together. You guys get the idea. Okay. Those are your 10 watercolor techniques.